Hi, everyone, and welcome to Design Tuesdays on Adobe Live. My name is Kristen, and I am going to be your host for the next hour and a half alongside the very talented Anika, who is also a very familiar face here on Adobe Live. Hello, Anika. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you? It's a Tuesday with the snowstorm outside, but I'm doing good. How are you? I see sun over there, so I'm excited.
Yes, it's super sunny over here. If you didn't know, Anika and I are both located in Canada, and we would love to hear where you're located. Let us know in the chat. We are live, so if you have any questions, make sure to throw those in the chat throughout the stream. We would be happy to address those throughout. And before we dive in and hear what Anika's up to today, I just want to say hello to everybody in our chat. So we have Wade, Oliver, Robert, Umacorn, hello, Apurva, Carol. We are so happy to have you guys here. Again, throw any questions that you have in the chat and we will get those addressed. Now, without further ado, Anika, why don't you introduce yourself for those who don't know you and what you'll be working on today?
Thank you. I am so glad to be here because I feel like this is such a full circle moment with you as my host because I remember the day that I was hosting you. So thank you for that. Thank you for being my host. And I'm excited for everyone joining us live. As Kristen said, please make sure to put all your questions in the YouTube or the Behance. My name is Anika. I'm based out of Toronto, Canada. I'm a brand strategist and a designer, and I run an independent creative studio called Ablehead. My website is under construction, but hey, I have my Behance and my Instagram, and those are the two best places to reach out to me if you're interested in working with me or just talking, collaborating. I do a lot of Adobe Express streams as well. I do a lot of pro tip segments here on Adobe Live if you've joined us before. This is my Behance. This was one of my most recent projects that I did, mindful affirmations. And I did this for like a Valentine's Day stream. I feel like it was such a fun. I always like to customize my gifts for people that I care. So I always try to integrate my personal and professional life here. And since I'm so passionate about design, I feel like that stems from all my gifts that I'm giving out to my friends or anything that I'm customizing. So every single time I do it, I just like think of how can I make this more personalized, which brings me to the segue, which is this was not planned, the perfect segue into our topic for today, which is a dinner party theme. And just like you and me, I love hosting dinner parties. I think it's like so much fun to have family and friends over. It's like that one memorable night. Maybe it can be monthly. You meet for Christmas, you meet for birthday parties. And what a fun way to customize everything that you do with Adobe Illustrator and Adobe Express. So that's what we're doing today. We're actually going to dive into making this. I'm going to show you a little sneak peek before we get started. I hope this plays, so we'll see how that looks. And I'm not going to put any music on just to avoid copyright issues, but if you go to my Instagram you will be able to see like the music and the voiceover. But we're designing invites, we're designing menu cards, we're designing party favor boxes. It's going to be some exciting fun stuff. I do want this to be accessible, so everything that I use in terms of keyboard shortcuts will be on my screen here on the top right. And I also have a mouse cursor here. So in case anybody has questions for the keyboard shortcuts, you can just ask it if you miss it. But those are my friends. This was our dinner party last weekend. And yeah, that's what we're doing today.
Oh my
I'm
gosh, this
excited.
looks like so much fun. Like the fact that this was a real event, branding for a real event, I'm so excited to see what this looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Okay, awesome. Let me go to my Illustrator file here and show you my mood board and inspiration. So this mood board and inspiration is essentially I got this from Pinterest and all of it was just Pinterest images, and none of these images are mine, just for um disclosure purposes. I feel like this is very in style with like minimalism, but also like hand illustrated elements. And I feel like my major inspiration here, in all of these things, the one thing that's common here is like the typefaces that they've used. And I love that there is like such a combination between bold type here with like a serif or a sans serif font, this little box that I use like as inspiration for my party favor box. And again, these save the dates. I love this like organic shape here with like these earthy colors. It's so warm and like welcoming along with this. And all of these colors kind of reminded me of the Polish flag. And with me and my friends, we always try to do like a themed dinner party. So Matt, who was my friend who hosted us this time, was Polish. So we just decided to do like a Polish themed dinner party night. So that's my inspiration.
I love that. I love that you pulled in the strategy as well as like the Polish flag. That's
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
brilliant.
I think the colors kind of like really spoke to me when I saw this. I was like, oh, dinner party. And this is like, we're just friends. I'm gonna pull this up. Sorry, just a second. I'm gonna ungroup this guy, little guy here. And like this was like, oh, we have this. And it's like super simple, minimal, but it's like to the point and gives the message out. So let's show you some culture and history. So with this, it's such a funny story because when I made this, I didn't actually know that bar mlechka was a thing. Bar Menchka is milk bar, and it used to be a thing in the 80s in the communist era when you used to get subsidized Polish cuisine here. And with I pull this in because all of these fonts here that they used during the time had this very distinct personality of having like sharp edges. All of them have like a unique personality. All the glyphs you can tell are like sharp, but also not, they're still friendly. And this name was actually derived from cheese cutlets because they were often sold when meat was rare. So this was like for mainly people who worked in companies where they didn't have a canteen and they wanted food. So you could go to a milk bar and get food there, not just meat, every single thing. So imagine subsidized traditional Polish cuisine at a low cost. That's milk bar. That's the inspiration without it being an inspiration. I hope that makes sense.
I love it.
But I did want to make this accessible and sustainable because I plan to do it every month whenever we throw a dinner party, and it is five of us friends. So I want it to be sustainable because this I don't want to invest a lot of time in it, and I feel like that is such a thing when you have maybe have assets for your clients, or maybe your clients are like, we are okay licensing this stock illustration, and then you can use it in your design. So make sure to read the licenses when it's like a personal or a standard or extended license. And if it's an extended license and you're working with a bigger client, or an enhanced, sorry, I meant to say enhanced. An enhanced license, you can work with like bigger number of shares, and you can put ad marketing behind it as well. So when you're working with something like that and you have a lower, like a higher deadline, like closer deadline, you can use stock. I used Adobe Stock for this, and these are some flower motifs that I picked out. And I feel like this is like so fitting with the whole theme. These colors are very similar to these colors, where I think this really ties in to our whole plan. And I want it to be illustration based because I have a place in my heart for that. The plan for the day is creating all of this. So why don't we just get started with it? I feel like I've been talking for way too long.
I'm excited to dive in. There's just a lot of beautifulness here. So I'm excited to see how you work with it.
Okay, awesome. So let's dive in and create like an illustration variation for this. So these are all Adobe stock, and I think this is a licensed, not I think, this is a licensed illustration. And I just want to pull some of these motifs out just because I want to customize it for like some of the designs. So I'm gonna bring this out here. And meanwhile, if you have any questions, Kristen, for me, I'm happy to answer them as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, I do have a question actually just off of the top of my head. So these are these vectors that you got from Adobe Stock?
This is the Adobe
Okay.
stock file right here.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, for those that may not know, Adobe Stock covers a bunch of different formats. So it's
Yep.
not just images or JPGs or PNGs. They also offer vector files as well. So very handy.
Yeah. I am trying to look at chat too, just in case I miss anything. But I'm glad that you're here with me.
Oh yeah, I'm here. I
That's
got
awesome.
you. Don't worry.
Yeah.
No, I'm good. Everyone's
Great.
saying hello. We got Liz in the chat saying hello.
Oh, hey,
Robert
Liz.
says, so much work to set up the table. I guess that was
I
referring to your dinner
know.
table.
I know. Don't I know it? I know. I think it's fun though. It creates for like that memorable. Just because I created these designs, it kind of like set the tone for all of our dinner parties now, and the pressure's on. Let me tell you, the pressure is on.
One of those things that once you start, it's kind of hard to stop.
Yeah. Also,
Yeah.
I think it's like just fun. To do it makes the experience more enjoyable for me personally. And you don't necessarily have to go all out with all your designs. You can just do the menu or something. But I always wanted to do like a side event planning thing for myself because I feel like I'm such a I I'm boasting here, but I feel like I do very good hosting and I can like really get into like the strategy behind it and what's the messaging that we want to put out for events. And I think
Right.
that is what inspires me and always makes me want to do like fun stuff like this. I hosted a Halloween themed like a pumpkin carving party last year. And I think that kind of like set the tone. There was like charcuterie, there was like pumpkin lights and all the things. So I was like, okay, let me do this.
Oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. I kind of wish we lived closer together.
Well, we will one day. All
We will
right.
one
I'm
day.
just aligning this and I'm just making this kind of like thing to help me with the design at the end. But I am going to start with like the invite now. And I have some lockups here that I created just to save us some time. I do have this font that I'm using. It's called Beetle. This is an Adobe font and this is exactly how it's spelled. So if you're watching and want to download it, go to Adobe Fonts and you can find it and license it there and use it in all the apps. I was looking at this and I realized that this is not exactly a typeface and it's like outline. So this is perfect because I can show retype beta for this. And if you haven't used retype beta, I feel like it is such a game changer for me personally because you can put in images in Illustrator and have Illustrator tell you what font it is. So here it is processing. I just clicked on retype beta and I'm going to click apply. Oh, it's still processing. Sorry. Don't mind me. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, while we're waiting, Ashleen says, this is so pretty, which I completely agree.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. I appreciate that. I see Matt in the chat. Matthews is my friend
Oh,
who inspired all of this. So thank you for
amazing.
being here. And he's also an amazing illustrator. So go check out his work. Go check out Gust of Wind on Instagram.
Oh,
Um, I do want to say this is the font match that I can see here, and it is so perfect because it actually pulls in fonts from your system. So if you're working on a Mac, you're working on a Windows device, it's gonna pull in fonts from the system and tell you what it is. So this is BD Supper, and if I click on it, it's gonna apply that to the font, and I think it already did it apply. Let me see. Yeah, it just
yeah.
applied to the supper part, not the BD, which is strange. But it is not strange because it is actually in beta, so it's still under development. So
Mhm.
if you like find anything that's like not what you expected, you can go here and click on provide feedback and say this was a good result, bad result, or go to the survey, which I feel like is such a I think it's such a sweet thing that you can actually contribute to the product journey and provide feedback as a user who actually uses all of these tools in their design process every single day. So I think that's like, oh, I'm actually contributing to this product that I use every day in my work. So yeah, that's
Absolutely.
like one of the fun things. But let's dive into it. Let's bring this lock up here. I did make these sizes. Now this is all in pixels, but you would have to see what page size you're using. I essentially tried to do it with an 8.5 by 11. Now this is an RGB file because today we're only showing digital formats, but we can change the file format to be like the color mode to be CMYK, but you don't necessarily have to change it to CMYK if you're using an RGB printer. So for today, we're just gonna make it an RGB. If we have time, I'm gonna show you how to export it and for print, and then we'll see how it all works. Make sense?
Makes sense. A couple of comments in regards to the Beetle font, Anika.
Mm-hmm.
A font called Beetle. I'm definitely getting that, Oliver said. And thank
I
you to
love it.
Wade for putting the link, the Adobe font link in the chat. So if you do want to go ahead and download that, it is there for you.
Awesome. Thank you, Wade. Wade is awesome. I love Wade.
So good.
Um, okay, let me resize this. So what I'm trying to do is like find a layout here for this design. And the essential thing here is to like really see what's important in your invite. For me, I think since this is like very illustration based, I do want it to have some like design elements, some illustrative elements. I do want to bring in some of the illustrations. I feel like some of these layers are not right. Yeah, it's in isolation mode. That makes so much sense now. Um, I always feel like such a thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me bring this to isolation and I'm going to send it to back. Oh, okay. Illustrator, please.
What is going on?
Okay,
Okay,
here we
well,
go.
we do have a question from Bobby actually. So
Mhm.
Bobby asks, that font recognition feature is the coolest thing. Does it only recognize Adobe fonts?
No. So it's not necessary for you to have only Adobe fonts in your system. It does recognize all the fonts in the current machine that you're using. So if it's a Mac, if it's a Windows device, it does recognize all the fonts that you have. So it's not just Adobe fonts. It can be any font that you got of Google, font that you got of Creative Market, you name it. You're gonna see all of them.
Really great question. Thanks, Bobby.
Thank you. Yeah, that is helpful. All
Yeah.
right, I think I'm gonna bring it up. And I actually want to bring everything out of this isolation mode just so that we have stuff here. So I am gonna send it to back again. I feel like the illustration got lost here. Yeah, here we go.
Mm.
So what I'm trying to do now is like I kind of like how this is like coming out the sides over here, But what I really want to do is like cut some of these lines just because I want to personalize it. I want it to look like I made it, you know? And just for that personal touch, hold on 1 second. Sorry. And I'm gonna center it and like use that. And I'm gonna zoom out and show you. So for that, I think I'm like such a shape builder girl. I always just use shape builder for stuff like this. I'm gonna select both these shapes. I selected the circle and pasted it in place, which is Command C, Command F to paste it in place in front. And then I brought it on the topmost layer. I can do it again. Actually, I did that really quickly. So Command C, Command F, and if you're working on a Windows, it's Control. And then you just like Shift Command and this closing square bracket to bring it to the front. And then I'm going to select this, which is my flower layer. Just for outline, you can see that this is all vectors. And I go back and select my circle as well. And now I'm just going to use a shape builder, which is Shift M, and delete these little lines here. And voila, I can delete this. And now it seems as if like the flower is growing from the insides of the circle. And I feel like that is such a cute touch here.
That looks so good.
And then I'm going to bring some of these like lockups here just because we can. I feel like this is like so fun. I don't know if it's just me. I don't know if it's just me, but I love making stuff like this. It's just so enjoyable when you actually are doing something for real. I don't know. I don't know if
For
you've ever
sure.
created something like this, Kristen. Have you?
Well, so I haven't done anything for my own events, but I've done it for a friend's event before.
I know, I've
And I've
seen
done
it. You're
weddings.
also the host and you always do stuff for your best friend. I've seen that on your Instagram.
Yeah,
So
I
that's really
love
exciting.
hosting. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's super fun.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna do a little bit of overlap here, and then obviously I want to say what we're eating at the event. So don't mind me if you find me looking here. I'm just looking at my notes to see what I want to add. And that's just this information, the copy information that we have. And I'm gonna bring it here. Just for printing purposes, you don't want any of the size to be less than 9 points. And this one is definitely less than that. So let's bring that up. I do think that I want to zoom in a little bit so you can see. And then I think that just adding like that color element is important here. So I'm going to do that as well. And once you're done with this design, I do want to go to Adobe Express to show you how you can send an animated design because not everyone uses print. And if we're throwing like a dinner party that everyone's going to be at, I think it makes more sense for it to be a digital invite more than a printed invite. In some cases, when people are away, let's say I'm inviting Kristen to my birthday party and she lives in Vancouver and I can't really send a physical invite to her. I feel like I would just send an animated invite like, hey, hi, what's up? This is my birthday and you're invited. So here's a little animated card for you. Or even as a birthday gift. So whatever I'm showcasing today is not necessarily for a dinner theme party. It can be rebranded to your purposes and the use cases are endless. So it's
Mhm.
basically like finding the inspiration, finding the color palette and the real reason of like the messaging that you want to put across to your audience. So my target audience was my friends who are all designers or illustrators, they're photographers. And my purpose with this was just to make it more personalized so they would be more inspired, and we do this to actually feel more inspired every single time we do it. And I think this left us in a place that was a Friday night, and we were like, oh, we feel inspired and ready to conquer our goals next week. And I feel like that was the messaging that I wanted to convey with this. So I think having that is important in your strategy as well, where you know why you're making some choices in your designs.
I love that. I feel like you took event planning to a whole other level by considering the target audience and what would appeal to them. Like oftentimes people just kind of throw a date on the calendar and say, "Hey, come on over," but you're
Yeah.
adding a whole different bunch of layers, which is amazing. I love
I love
that.
that. Okay, I'm gonna use the repeat grid here. I feel like repeat grid is also one of my favorite tools because sometimes I want to almost have that ability. Just with the shape builder, I'm a very visual person. So instead of using the Pathfinder, I like using the shape builder for some things. Of course, Pathfinder is like more constructive work, but with shape builder as well, you can save shapes. Obviously, we all know that there's stuff around the artboard, so it's fine.
Mhm.
But with the repeat grid, I feel like this was in XD first and then it came in Illustrator. And it's been my absolute favorite because you can actually like change it and you can see it live as opposed to making a pattern and then using it in a shape. I feel like for me personally and my workflow, this works better. almost. And then you can like make all the fun things. So just as an example, I think I want to take this guy here and show you something really quickly, just because we are talking about it. So since we are like, this is a group that I made, and I can go to object, repeat, and there are three things: radial, grid, or mirror. So with the radial, I can make all of this and increase or decrease the number of occurrences that I have. And I can decrease how many, like I can make it bigger as well, like how closely or further apart they are. That's one. And did I paste it? Did I paste it? Yeah, here. Oh, it's like in the grid. So you can also add shapes. So that's cool. And then you can make repeat on repeat. So it can be repeat square. So since I have this radial right here, it's like really complicated. But you can but you can create a grid out of it too. So it's like a pattern, but not really, because I feel like good patterns are those that you can't really tell it's a pattern. So
Right.
I think this is like something that I really enjoy experimenting with, because it just helps with the whole thing. But with that said, I feel like this is almost done. So I'm going to group everything, and then I'm going to align it to the selection, which is my page. And then I'm going to ungroup it. My personal favorite has been this contextual taskbar, to be honest. Just like being able to do this on the fly with like group, ungroup, and all these things is just like so exciting. Yeah.
So good, especially if you're still learning the shortcuts and all of that, just to have that
Yeah.
there. It's so handy.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that. Okay, I think this might be like the one side of it, but I do want to do like the back side of it, just because I feel like I want to say, are you in, or like RSVP or something like that. So I'm just gonna, also, why is this not straight? That is so weird. It's just like this.
Wade says, I love that sausages is in its own category, sorry, outside of snacks.
Well, so like there's like so many different kinds in the Polish cuisine, so I feel like almost it like deserved it.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, it just deserves that. Like, how could I not? How could I not, Wade? You know?
yeah.
Okay, let me size this down a little bit. So with the type lockups that I'm creating, I just like wanted it to be a little bit fun, a little bit off the edge, a little bit like different. I always like go for something safe. And I think the reason that I really love this is because this has allowed me to like get out of my comfort zone of only using the same colors and the same fonts that I always use. And I think that is the thing that inspires me the most here, where I'm like, oh, maybe this is something that I actually like to do. And maybe I can experiment more, and that gets me out of my, like rut where I'm working like production, like go, 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 hustle. And like you can just like almost tune that out and just do it for fun. Just like, yeah, that's just inspiring for me.
Totally. I could see that for sure.
I almost want to do just the same colors here. And then, yeah, I think that I like that better. And then I'm gonna do this. Would you mind telling me how much time we have left? I feel like I'm going so slow.
No, you're doing so well. So we're about 20 minutes, sorry, 25 minutes, I should say, into the stream.
Okay.
So yeah, so we've still got a good amount of time.
Okay.
And I
Yeah.
feel like you've done a lot for for
I
25 minutes.
actually don't think. Oh, what happened here? Sorry. Sorry about that. Okay. I'm gonna paste it in place. Oh, I'm actually pasting it in the group. That's why it's not pasting. So here's a different shape. I'm gonna bring it to front. And then what I want to do here is like, just because you see how this font has like these glyphs, almost they're like, some of the widths are like really small, and they're like some are like really big with like the A and the R's and the E. All of them have like a very unique personality. And with branding of any kind, I feel like it's really important to have branding elements that match the vibe, right?
Right.
Basically. And so I'm going to turn this to a stroke, and then I'm going to center it to this guy. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. To this guy. It is grouped. That is my robot voice. Okay, let's go back. So I have the stroke here, and the width tool is your best friend, which is right over here. This is the width tool. And what I'm gonna do is essentially like make some funky shapes here. So you can actually see that it's like, oh, it's like part of the font almost, where it almost seems like this was like I created the font, but I actually didn't. So it almost seems like, for me, it's like a mirror almost, like, are you in? Do I
Yeah.
look good for this party? Like, I don't know what's happening here. So it's almost like that reflection of like, am I free this day? Is my calendar available? So it's almost like introspective, but like just in a fun way.
Right.
All right. So we have this, and then you can always like go ahead and customize it with some of these motifs or like add some floral elements. I feel like I am kind of happy with how this looks for now. And then maybe we can introduce some of these designs in here as well. Maybe just one of these, just to like not make it too busy. And
Mhm.
then I do have my grids turned on. That's why I can see like where I put these places, like how you see these lines, the magenta lines. I can
Yeah.
actually see that. And then I can go in here and say RSVP to Mateusz Napieralski, which is my friend's name. Here we go. And then I can just enter all of that. Oh, yeah.
So nice. That looks great.
Okay. Actually, let's actually say kindly RSVP because that's polite, right? Let's say
Less direct.
like this is an order, RSVP to
Yeah.
Matt. I'm like, oh, so sorry. All right. Okay, let's make the center line and I'm gonna make it a little bit like so. Okay. I think I'm kind of slightly okay with this. I'm not completely happy with it, but I'm okay with it. Okay, and then I'm gonna bring it up here to the center of this. No, to the center of this guy. All right, that finishes our first run of the invite. I feel like now is a good time to jump into Adobe Express and show you how you can animate this. So why don't we do that? I'm gonna go to Adobe Express here. I think it's right here. And if you've never worked with Adobe Express is awesome because it lets you use vector assets in libraries. You can share it with the Creative Cloud library. Today, I'm just going to use copy paste though, which is awesome because it say copies from the clipboard and like puts it on. I'm going to use a portrait size because maybe I want to send it as a story, or maybe I want to send it like in a vertical format because I'm using my phone to send it. So I think for me personally, this would be like the best way that I could be like, oh, let me actually share a 9:16 file with you. So I'm going to go to my Illustrator file. And the first thing that I'm going to do is bring this element. Now I do might want to scale it because when you copy it, some of these like some of these vectors paste as images because you are actually copying that from your clipboard. So it's a good idea for it to for if you want it to not be rasterized, when you scale it up to have it like slightly bigger than you intend to on your artboard. So I'm gonna copy Polish Night and I'm gonna hit Command B, which is paste, and then if I like make it bigger, it's like still not pixelated. It's like slightly pixelated still, but I think it'll be fine for our purposes today. But if you are including this, like if this is your final project, since I'm just showcasing the techniques here, I'm not going to bog down on the details, but you can actually scale it up. You can also use your Creative Cloud libraries. So you can create a brand library right here that I can actually show. So you go to Windows, you go to libraries, which is right over here. And let me see. Okay, click on the plus button and create a new library. I'm sure a lot of us have already created libraries, but just in case you haven't, I have this library here. I can just like pop this in here like so, drag it out, pop this here like so, and then these are all the artworks that we have. I'm gonna make this as a group. So this is the library that I just created, and this was the lockup that I wanted in Adobe Express. If I go back to my Adobe Express, here is my brands and libraries that we have, and I can look up. I'm sure that it'll take, here we go. It's already here. Like just from going from Illustrator to Adobe Express within 30 seconds, it was like already here and populated. So I don't need to care about this anymore. I can just click on it and it's going to add it. And if I zoom it in, and if I like open it up, it is a vector asset, and that's why it is not like it's not rasterized. And it says your linked assets has changed. So if I click on update, it's going to update all of it. So now if I go into the library and I decide that this bottomless text is like not what I want it to be, maybe I want to change it, change the color here. I will change the color here. Let's actually change it to something just to showcase how this works. I'm going to bring some of these colors here. Okay, let's actually get this color palette here. And maybe, oh, maybe I want to change this color to this guy, right? And then I'm going to
Mhm.
hit save. Oh, a text library asset can contain only one. Oh, sorry. I wanted to delete all this. Sorry. Sorry about that. And then I hit save, right? Go back to your Adobe Express project. And man, I can't see the text. I can't see the text. Hold on. Hold on. It
It's
always
okay.
happens in your life.
Oh, of
Always
course. Yeah,
happens.
that's how you know we're live.
Oh, I think it's like taking a while to like open up the text asset, but as soon as you do that, you see all these like text assets here. But you can see, oh, sorry, let me go back to my original file here. you can see that if I bring this asset back out, it is the different color that I made. So in the library, it has actually changed the color. So if I use this again in here, I might have to refresh it just because it was like already open there. But since it was already added there, it did change the color. So that would have been the case if I had already added that on my page. But I hope that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That's one of my favorite things about Adobe Express, honestly, is how easy it is to take different artwork and bring it into Adobe Express. Like whether it's a
Mm-hmm.
CC library, you can do a
Mm-hmm.
PDF, you can upload an AI file. Like it's amazing how quickly you're able to get artwork in there.
Yeah. I feel like you can there's another way to actually bring in your Illustrator file here as
Mhm.
well, where I actually want to show it. So here we go. I was like diving straight into it. What is going on here? So click on, you can start from your own content. So if you save that invite as a separate file of its own, or even have 10 artboards in your file, you can actually import that and it'll open up as pages in Adobe Express. So here is the page that you can see, and you will see that all the 10 artboards or however many artboards you have will show up here. I think there might be a limit to that, which might be closer to 100. But
Mm.
since the team is working on it every day, they are improving like the consistency and like how it works across apps. And speaking of consistency, if you haven't signed up for the mobile beta yet, please do. It's awesome.
It is pretty amazing.
Yeah,
Very convenient.
yeah. I do love working on the fly all the time. I'm like, hey, I'm going on a train ride, maybe I need some catching up to do. So
Exactly.
definitely. Okay.
Michelle says, hi, all. Sorry I'm late. Don't worry. We are happy to have you here regardless. So thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah,
And Jack says, I'm late too, Michelle. Been one of those days. Well, we're very happy to
totally
have
get it.
you here as well, Jack. Thanks so much for joining us. And let us know if you have any questions for Anika. She's the Adobe Live expert. So let us know what's going on. If you have any questions about Adobe Express, Illustrator, branding, anything, I'm sure she'll be really happy to answer those for you.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, bring on all the questions. I'm excited. Okay, so here's the layers panel. And if you turn it off, you won't be able to see layers. But if it's already turned on, this is how you turn it on. Already turned off. That's what I meant. And then
Yeah.
you can drag these layers out any which way you want. So if you want it under, just drag it like lower than all the other layers. It works like all the other layers and all the Adobe tools. So the process is pretty seamless where you already know how everything works. So the user experience is like very much in line with all like how it is with other apps. So I feel like with this, it might be like a little too much information for this page. So maybe we'll just not include this here and just like bring this text here. So I'm like, okay. And we're almost here. Um, this is very pixelated. So I'm gonna bring it up here. Okay, let me zoom out a little bit and scale it up. Okay,
Mm.
awesome. Again, this is only because I'm pasting it. If I was using libraries, which I just showcased how to, it would not be pixelated at all because it would still be vectors. And if it's
Right.
big enough, it won't actually like um pixelate at all. All right. And I think it's important to know here that what is the information that you want in your animated invite? Like, do you want to add all the things or do you want to like keep some of the things? This is where responsive design comes in, where when you use logos, you don't necessarily want your iconic mark and also your logo, like your word mark in every scenario. So since this is like a 9 by 16, I don't want all the information. I only want necessary information where I already know that it's Matt's party. We all know where he lives. We all know what it means that we'll have a fun time, and it's not necessarily a printed asset. So, all of that unnecessary redundant information is not necessary here. And so, I think this is good, like a good place to start. And then you can like move it around. Now it's centered, and the grid lines in Adobe Express tell you that it's centered as well. And why don't we go ahead and animate it? So
Yeah.
as you can see, this is an image. You can go ahead. Every single element that you click on has its own animation. But if you make a group, you can add animation on animation. What I mean by that is, let's go to Polish Night. That's the one that I have selected. You can see from the layers panel. Click on animation, and maybe I'll do like a fade in. Okay. I want to keep it simple. With all the animation that I'm adding, I'm only probably going to be using like two transitions and keep it simple, maybe change the timing of it, because if everything comes on at the same time, you can't really tell that anything is animating. It's all relative, right? So thinking of having consistency in your design with animation, with the type that you're using, with the type sizes that you're using is important. And you don't want your animation to be really jarring. And all these, while I love all of these transitions, I only want to use two of them. So let's go ahead and use fade. And immediately when I clicked on it, there was a timeline that was added. So that's pretty cool. And then you can click on the show layer timing and you can increase or decrease the amount of time it stays on the screen. So maybe I want it to be like a 10-second video, because if there is more information, or actually let's keep it 5 and then we can add another scene which says RSVP or whatever. We can add that as a second scene. Um, so that's like the one thing that we did. And then let's go to bottomless dinner here. And maybe I want it to be like pop. Okay. And I love that it's like a group and it just like pops it on the side. So if I do that again, I go to in and I go to pop, it's like doing that. And that like just like adds that extra factor that I wanted. And you can also change the personality. So it can be soft, it can be strong, which is the default. It can be loud, whatever you like. My personal favorite is soft. I'm gonna increase the duration a little bit. Actually, let's keep that as is. And I always like to do like a playthrough just to see how it feels. And it's like can be slow sometimes because you do want to make it perfect. And I like to do that. I'm kind of a perfectionist sometimes, so I get bogged down on details. But the idea of using Adobe Express is to not get bogged down on the details. So I love that you can actually do that here. And with this, you can also like add jitter, you can add looping animations with this as well. But let's do pop for this as well. And I'm gonna keep it as default just to save some time in here. Okay, let's do pop. And now I'm gonna play it again. Let's see how that looks. Okay, not bad.
Ooh, yeah. You literally made it pop, Anika.
I try to not do that. Let's retract that. Let's retract that. Let's retract.
Yeah, we don't want to. We don't want the wrong
We
idea.
edited in post.
Yeah.
Okay. So there are some like things here like grow, shrink, rise. I just want to showcase some of the transitions that we have. Spin, which I not a fan. Slide, pop, fade, and then some bungee, which is like cool. Maybe we can do this and I can show you how it works. Like duration, we can like make it slow, and they can be like number of bounces that you have as well. So I think this is cool. But I am still gonna go with fade just because I want to have that consistency. I'm gonna increase the duration here because I only want it to pop up after the text pops up. So let's go ahead and play and see. Oh, that's actually kind of perfect. And I can
Yeah.
go back and decrease the duration slightly. And I have this. Ooh, sweet. Okay, I actually love that.
So good.
And maybe I want to decrease this a little bit to match it to the size. I don't like how this is placed, so maybe I'm gonna like bring it up here. Or maybe I don't even need this element. I'm not exactly sure why I don't like it here. It feels like super busy because there's a lot of going on here. It feels like it's getting lost, like this motif kind of almost. But I'm gonna let it be. I'm trying not to get bogged down on the details, so I'm just gonna let it be. I'm gonna do a pop here with this as well, and then here, and then maybe this will be a fade. Okay, and then I'm gonna align it to center so that everything is like center line. You have all of these tools built in Adobe Express, so you don't need to worry about like copy pasting stuff while I was doing it, just because you have everything built in here as well. And now for the animation within animation, it is animationception over here, animationception down. But we have this, and I'm gonna align it to center again. And this group doesn't necessarily have any animation, but the groups inside have animation, right? So what I'm gonna do is select that group and maybe do like a fade to the whole thing. So it almost seems like less jarring and it kind of like helps with the whole thing. So let me play and okay, sweet.
Wow.
That takes away from the pop that was happening and these words are popping out of like some text which like doesn't exist. And because I don't have the option of changing the opacity, ideally if I was using like After Effects or Premiere Pro, I would like go in, spend a lot of time in there and like change the opacity from 0 to 100 as it pops out completely. But I don't want to do that here. But I can do this here, which is like super fun because I can do this within a click. And I don't need to worry about like putting keyframes or anything, I can just add that to a group, and it almost seems like this was the plan all along.
Right. Looks
Um,
so good. Wow. I mean, Michelle in the chat says, really love the flowers and the color palette and the animation features of Adobe Express are, and like a great emoji. Like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay. So that was the animated design. What
Mhm.
I want to do now is go to menu because I know we're 40 minutes into the stream. I
Yes.
do want to cover all the things that we said we would, or as many. And
Mhm.
this is the back of the card, and I would just add it as a scene. So what I did here was I clicked on add a scene here. I'm gonna delete this so I can show it again. So here's an add scene button in Adobe Express. And once you do that, it's just gonna play through what's on the next scene. So what you can do if you wanted to add RSVP or something, you can just like copy paste this here, and I have this here, and then you can just like size it up. Obviously, this is not how I want it to be. This is a very small image, but you can go in here and say, "Are you in?" And then maybe this is like 2 seconds, and now I'm gonna play through the whole thing. So let's hit play. That's the first one that we spend a lot of time on, 10 minutes,
Mhm.
and then are you in? And then you can even add like a transition here. So you can click on add transition. There's like dissolve. If you hover on it, it's going to show you how that looks. If you push, that's how it looks. And if you slide, that's how it looks. I think push is my
Hmm.
favorite. So I'm going to have push. And then you can change the personality again. Soft, strong, energetic. I'm going to go with soft because it like helps. And you can do even something like this. Like, are you in? And I feel like I love that. Okay, let's play again and see how it looks. Polish night, March 15th, 7 p.m., wine, snacks, and sausages. Are you in? And it was like the
Oh.
perfect time till I read everything too. So, like, reading out loud and how your audience will read it will also help. And considering like a variety of audience would also be helpful. So, like, just keeping that in the back of your head, going back to the drawing board and the mood board while you're designing stuff is really important. So, what I do is basically once I'm done with like one design, I go back to the drawing board and see how how do I think this is my inspiration? If this was a client that approved one of the mood boards, does this really speak to the language or the messaging that it had? And I think it actually kind of really does. So, yeah, I think that's like something super important. So, let's actually go and download this. You have various file formats here. You can do MP4, which is what we would want for a video. There are PNGs, JPEG, PDF for documents, and then you can actually go here and export a 4K version, original or 720 pixels. So let's do 4K download, and it's going to download in the back. It's going to be an MP4 file. We're all set, and we can
Yeah.
dive back into creating invites or menus. Yeah.
Yes. Amazing. That's great. Alejandro says a clear example of a monochromatic color palette, you can achieve beautiful work. And absolutely, completely
Awesome.
agree.
Yeah. I This color palette was actually inspired by the Polish flag. Um, it's red and white, and I think it's like really significant. And I think that some of these experiences are like I think with colors, I'm glad that Alejandro said that because color is such an important aspect of branding.
Mhm.
Based on where you're making the design, if you have a global audience, if it's a if friendliness is like your brand um asset or trait. And speaking of color, it's like important to see how your audience will perceive color as well. So if it's like a global audience, thinking about what colors are traditional, what colors are authentic, what colors are for danger, or what colors are like
Mhm.
acceptable almost, because cultural references are really important when it comes to like a global audience. And I feel like that's such an important point. So thank you for bringing it up. I appreciate you, Alejandro.
Yeah, great comment.
Yeah. Okay, and now let me just make like a quick food and drink menu. So we have food and drinks, and I like bump it up a little bit.
Mhm.
I'm gonna bring it here, and then it's centered. And the one thing that I want to do, maybe I want to center it like small. Okay, okay, this looks good.
Yeah.
Maybe, and then I actually sent this file to my friend, and because he was like making the food, so I was like, you know what, you can just change it to whatever you think is good.
Oh, that's smart. A little
Yeah.
collaboration. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We love doing that. We love doing that. And we also like did some test prints, so that was fun. And I was like, yeah, this is cool. Okay. So what I want to do now is like almost create like use some of the shapes. So I'm gonna say like eat and then use that on top. And since we use like this kind of style here, where this was like merging with the shape that we had, which is a solid color, I think I'm gonna bring this again to my branding element here, where I say eat and drink. So all of this will still be part of that. I will go ahead and like change it a little bit as we go, but this is like the first initial idea that I had. Maybe I want it here, and then I want it slightly over like this. And right now it seems like it's like too big for this, so maybe I want to size it down just a little bit. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
We're playing. We're
Yeah,
exploring.
we're just exploring here. It's pure exploration. Okay.
We have Izzy
And
saying hi in the chat. Hi, Izzy. Welcome to the stream. We're happy to have you
hey,
here.
what's up, Izzy? Okay. And then I think I'm gonna bring some of these floral elements. So I'm gonna bring this guy here. And let's see what we can do with it. So we have this. I'm gonna ungroup it and pray that not everything was like a single thing. Oops.
Ooh, yeah. Very ungrouped.
Yeah, it is very ungrouped. Okay. Not, it's okay. Everything's fine.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
We have everything under control. That's what I tell myself when something goes wrong. Like, it's okay. Everything's fine. House on fire. It's okay. That reminds me of that
Yeah.
meme from like a long time ago.
Yeah. The one with the
Um,
fire. Everything's fine.
yeah, the dog meme.
The dog. Yeah.
Yeah, the dog is my best friend. Okay. And I like bring this element. Ooh, this is cute.
I love that.
Okay, I want to see how I can integrate. Actually, maybe I don't want this element. And oh, no. Okay, here, maybe to bring this here.
Izzy says some cool chicks on this live. Well, especially now that you've joined us, Izzy. Thank you.
We have you now. It's cool.
Absolutely.
Okay. And then I'm gonna zoom in just like so. Okay, yeah, and like zooming
Ooh.
out really helps because I feel like that just adds that kind of extra kind of thing, you know? Okay,
Yeah.
and then I maybe want like this guy. So I'm gonna grab this. Maybe I want all of this. So I'm gonna grab this and I'm gonna delete this out of here. Hmm. Can you do a quick time check?
Yeah. So we are halfway through the stream now officially.
Okay. Okay.
So we're about 45 minutes in, which is exciting.
Yeah.
So yeah, still got lots
Okay,
of time
awesome.
to
Yeah.
get things done.
Okay, we have time. Okay. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Good. This is good.
Oh yeah.
We're
We
on
got time.
track. So that's awesome. Whenever I
Amazing.
stream, I just like always feel like I'm so ambitious with what I want to cover because I want to like say as many things as I can because
Mhm.
like I love that you have like we have this community here and like everyone's here to learn. And just
Oh
like
yeah.
riffing off of ideas is so great. And I just like want to make it more accessible. And like, oh, you can use this for n number of different things. You don't necessarily have to do a dinner party, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, if you're just like Izzy, who has tuned in recently, as a
Mm-hmm.
quick recap on what we've been working on.
Yeah.
So I believe it was over the weekend that you hosted the dinner party, right, Anika? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Anika hosted a real Polish dinner party. So she actually did all of the branding for it. And so she's kind of going through, walking us through the mood board, the inspiration, the culture
Mm-hmm.
behind it, and then what she has done as far as like variations and she's got some die lines, she's got some invitations. She pulled us into Adobe Express to do some animations, which was fun. So yeah, we've
Yeah.
covered a lot and there's a lot more to do. So yeah.
Yeah. Just as a quick walkthrough. Here's the animation too.
Yeah. It's so good.
Awesome. Let's
I
go
would
back.
be saying yes. I am in.
I love this. This actually is turning out better than what I designed for the dinner party. So I think I might like go back and tell Matt that I'm sorry.
Don't
I
tell
did
Matt. Matt, if you're in the
such a
chat
bad
still.
job. Matt, are
Yeah.
you still here, Matt?
Yeah.
Hello? Yeah, okay. So I just like what I use like traditional foods here. That is not how you spell pierogi.
Oh yeah. Needs an R.
And I actually have something here. I'm gonna look at it just to like see what there was actually on the menu. So pierogi was one of the things, and we had this really cool potato and dill pickle soup, and it was so
Ooh,
interesting because like if someone did not tell me that there was like pickles in it, I would have never guessed that there were pickles in it.
really?
It was
Oh,
so interesting, like, and so warm. Like, you know, it's like snowing outside. I wish I had that right now. It's like perfect, your perfect companion on the couch, sit on the couch, like, drink that soup. Perfect. Yeah. Like,
nothing better than comfort food.
don't
Like when
get
the
out.
weather's cold.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. And I think like that paired with all these things that we kind of like did almost, which like kind of reminded us like to take it's okay to take it easy sometimes. So
Oh yeah.
I'm using option and like the left and right arrow key to change the kerning of this text. And I think this is like a really cool example of like a shortcut that is like super handy. And I'm just
Mm,
doing that just because I feel like the original, which was like 0, is like too far, kind of almost, because this is not it really depends how big your font size is on print to see how the kerning will play, but that's where test prints come in. So if you think that it's like not as visual, if I like zoom out and I feel like it's like not legible when the kerning is less, I would almost like go ahead and increase it from the font that I'm using. But I think with like as most fonts, the font designers know the best and they're
mhm.
already like doing it, so you don't, in most cases you don't need to change it, um is what I would say.
Right.
Yeah. And then I have like, I'm gonna put in like a shape here. And like really the idea here is to like play with shapes and see what comes up and like how you can, what happened there. So sometimes when I lose things, I just go to outline mode and find them.
Outline mode, it just reveals everything.
Yeah. Outline mode is my best friend. Sorry, Matt. Outline mode is my best friend. Okay. We have this here. And I bring this. And ideally, I would like align everything. This is, I'm gonna ungroup it, um, ungroup it, and then I'm gonna select all these three. Select one as the key object, and then center it. Where is it? Go to properties, um, distribute spacing, and that's it. And then I'm gonna do
Mhm.
that with these two as well, these three as well. Go to align. Okay, and then you can increase the
Ooh,
spacing. So I can click on that again, and here we go. This is too much, so maybe I'll do 10. Yeah, that's perfect.
there we go.
And similarly, you can do that for whatever you're drinking as well. So for this case, I'll just write vodka. So I'm just gonna say that here. Or if you don't
That's it.
drink,
That's all. That's all you're
that's all.
drinking.
That's all.
No wonder it was a super fun party.
We don't talk about that.
Yeah.
So it's right here. I have this right here. I just like coughed really bad, so I muted myself. But here we are. Okay. So that's our menu. I think that was like really, really fun and
Hmm.
quick to do. And I really love that. And as like something on the back, I feel like this is like, sorry, one sec.
Hmm. Looks so
Sorry
good.
about that. It's the weather.
Oh yeah. 'Tis the
So
season.
yeah, it's always like that. It's the flu season, friends.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So here's like something that I really love to do is that have like almost like the back of the menu. So it's like super cool. I don't know if we can transition to my screen here, like the video. But if we can do that, I have something right over here. So this is the food
Mm.
menu. That's the food menu that we printed. And
Looks
then if you
so,
turn it around, that's actually on the screen. So that's cool.
wow. That is so cool. I mean, if I went to a dinner party and there was a printed branded menu, I mean, already you're like 10 points up. Like just, you've already won if you have
Thank you.
that.
Thank you.
That's
I appreciate
incredible.
that. I think I was almost dying there a little bit, but thank you for covering for
Mhm.
me.
I got you,
But
girl.
that's like the example of like how you can actually print it and have it there on the dinner table, which is like so exciting for me. I feel like
Mhm.
that just like really elevates the whole thing. All right. Let's jump into creating name tags first. I know we were talking about it. Let's jump back to our plan for the day. We did the invite, we did the animated invite in Adobe Express. We just finished the menu, and now comes the name tags. And then we'll jump into party favors, or maybe we'll do like a quick Polish pop queens thing after the name
Mhm.
tags, and then we'll do party favors. So
Perfect.
with name tags, I think just having the names of the people is important. So if it's like a dinner party, if it's a Christmas party, if it's like 30 people, a work event, you should have. I was doing like a shipping label kind of thing. So I ordered something like off Amazon and it had sticker on the back. So it was like sticker paper. And usually when you order something like that, there's like a standard template that you find. This was like an Avery label 8163 or something. I don't really remember, but if you Google and like on Amazon with the specifications, you can find this template there. So I didn't build this myself. this was not something that I made. This was just to match where the things would be printed. So I think the first thing that I want to do is like get the text here. So I'm going to bring it up and I'm just going to write my friends' names here. So I'm going to say my guest list, which is Matt, Raf, and my name. Let's just do 3 for now. And just in case you want like contingency, maybe you want to bring like 2 of these, right? So actually let's make the design and then we'll like replicate that. All right. Meanwhile, I'm wondering if there are any questions.
So far, no questions, but you know what? I have a question for the chat. So, chat. Okay. So Anika did a party and it was Polish themed. So if you were going to host a dinner party, what type of cuisine would you host? And would you brand for it? I hope so. I hope, especially after watching this stream, you're inspired to, because this is super cool.
I love that. Yeah, I would also like to know. Okay, let's go back here. Okay, this is a color. So let's actually write the whole name. Raphael. And then maybe I want to bring like one of the like one of these elements here. So maybe this can be it. This can be it. There's like lots of things. The fun thing about this stock illustration here is that there are so many elements that you can like almost customize it and make it your own in a way that like feels very on brand for you. I do want to bring it up. Actually, I want to bring this isolation mode almost. And then maybe like find the right spacing for it. So I think this might be not that great. And you can like turn it around. All right. And then maybe I want this to be white. I don't know how I feel about that.
I like it. I think it like kind of arches nicely underneath the name.
Yeah, you think so? Okay.
Yeah, like kind of guides the eye back into, especially like that little teardrop kind of pointing towards the name. Kind of nice. I like that. I like the orientation.
Okay,
there.
maybe it should like point towards the name a little bit more. And then I'm
There
gonna
we go.
center it. Yeah. And then this is like the perfect place here because I feel like this is like aligned mathematically, but I don't know if it's optically aligned. I feel like it feels a little bit off. So I'm gonna go like just maybe a couple spaces here. And now it kind of feels like it's aligned, right?
Yeah, I agree. That looks better.
Yeah. And then I can do that with my name as well. So I'm gonna paste this here and get this color. And maybe I'm in this color. So I'm gonna bring it up here. Ooh, that looks nice.
Ooh, that pops. That looks so good.
Pop. I love that the contrast is so good there.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I'll bring this here. Obviously, this is not the color that we want with our name because it's not legible. So I'm gonna grab these colors here and almost like try to see.
So good. And you have a fan in the chat, Anika. Alejandro says, as always, great work by Anika. Thank you and greetings to all. He has to go. Well, hopefully we'll catch you on the replay.
Yeah, thanks for being here. I appreciate you. Okay, let's change these colors a little bit. Okay, I think for now, this is good. And then maybe I can actually change this to white. Ooh, okay. I think I like that more. And then maybe I want this to be here. Wow, my throat is giving up over here. All right, and then I can like just optically align it like so. 1 second, I'm gonna mute again.
Okay. That looks so great. I mean, and then to answer my question earlier I think I would do a Mexican theme. I'm like all about Mexican right now. Yeah, I feel like that'd be super fun to brand.
I love that you brought that up. We actually did a Mexican theme night. So we did like a taco night where we made our own tortillas. And that was our New Year party. So that was cool. We just like stayed in, decided to like do it. And like, okay, we're gonna make tortillas from scratch. It's gonna be fun.
Oh, wow.
So
that's next level.
Fun. Yeah, it was really nice. And then you can make like as many copies here. Sorry for bearing with me while I cough my lungs out. I'm glad you can't see it. I love technology and like being able to mute it.
Yeah.
All right. So here's like the name tags that we created. And then with like 30 minutes to go, I feel like I want to keep the party favorites for last because it's kind of like detailed. And then that way we won't miss out on all the things. With coaster, slide deck template, these were like extra things that I was thinking that I can include. With the theme graphic and coasters are actually the same thing. I should have just like wrote that here. But let's create something like Polish pop queens. Now, what I mean by that is that Matt, who was our host, actually decided to give us some more culture tidbits there. So he brought up like Polish pop queens, and they were like videos, and like he showed us like how dancers are in the Polish culture, how it was, like how they're singers and like their history and how they've contributed to society. So it's like all the things that you can learn about the Polish culture, but just packed in 5 videos. And it's like
Oh,
not all the things necessarily, but like the pop culture references that we would not even know exist. So I think
wow.
there's like this homage to the pop queens that I actually absolutely adored. And he did a really fun thing where he was like, the queens will come in as they please, and then we learn all about them. So we almost thought that he was going to go into drag and almost show us the pop queens, but that did not happen. So our hopes were, we were just lied to. And no,
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, and then I want to like bring this in. Maybe I want to make this white and then I'm gonna send it to back. Okay, that does not pop. Okay. Um yeah, and then I think this can be like used as a coaster, a
Mhm.
t-shirt graphic. I think with t-shirt graphics, the one that I made here, um this could be used as like almost like a motif here on the
Oh,
top,
yeah.
which would be like this, and like on the back it could be something like okay, let me actually do this. Let me, oh, what, my Illustrator is kind of dying. No, here we go. So this could be like the front here,
Mhm.
and then this could be the back. So the back could be just the elements. So it could be like a white t-shirt. Imagine this to be a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Oh, what's happening? Where's the flower? Oh, it's underneath. Here we go. Okay, awesome. Is it still there? Oh, it is still there.
Oh, parts of it. Yeah. There we go.
Yeah. Whoa.
Okay.
That is
Group.
funny.
Yeah.
Group.
There we go. There
There
we
we go.
go. Yeah.
So this is like a t-shirt, right? And so I'm gonna
Mhm.
like zoom that in, like it's a motif almost, and this is like where this is my
Oh,
t-shirt
yeah.
mock-up.
Yeah. DIY.
DIY t-shirt mock-up. It's funny that you say that because there is a mock-up tool. So maybe I
Mhm.
can use that and show it. Okay, let's go to mock-up
Yeah.
beta and go and find it. Oh, here's Paul.
Oh, hi.
But there's, hi Paul.
Yeah.
There is like that like tutorials with this. So with any new feature, you can actually go ahead and look it up. And it's so cool to see all of this. I have used this before, so I'm not gonna use that for now. But here are different categories: apparel, there's branding graphics, there is digital devices, and there is packaging. So I'm gonna go to apparel and there's a t-shirt here. There's a white
Mhm.
t-shirt too. So maybe I
Mhm.
can use this one almost for this. Can I use it? Oh, edit on canvas. How do you wait? I've forgotten how this works. Do you know how this works?
I thought it was just a
I
matter
have
of
literally forgot.
clicking it.
Yeah, I thought it would work that way too, but it's not doing it.
Yeah. I
Oh,
wonder
you
if
have to
you.
create mock. Oh, you have to click on mock,
Oh, I
make
see. I see.
mockup.
I see.
Okay.
Okay.
And then if you click this, it
And then you
says,
do it. Okay.
yeah, then you add it on that. Okay, this is a learning curve for us too, friends. I don't know.
Yes, it is.
It be like that sometimes.
We
Okay. All right.
figured it
So
out.
we figured it out. It's generating a mesh, and this is like somewhat like
Oh,
you
yeah.
can zoom in, and like this is the mock-up, and you can go ahead and like crop it in a little bit. So what I was thinking, oh, whoa, that was like really going to the curves.
Yeah.
So you can see as I move it around, it's like going to this person's body almost, and
Mhm.
like in crevices of how a t-shirt would look like. And so as I move it along, I don't need to put it in the center, but I like was thinking something like this, where it would
Mhm.
almost be like off to the side. And you would just know, right? Just like some fun things to do. And you can actually print this for very, very cheap at your local printers, or even if you have like a Uniqlo um near you. I think I sometimes like use their services because you can print tote bags and you can like print t-shirts. So you buy like a basic t-shirt and then you can print your own design on it. So that's pretty
Mhm.
cool. I think this is like what I was imagining for a t-shirt graphic almost, but this looks cool too with the black. I think the color really pops there. So let's see how
Yeah.
that one looks too. It's gonna generate that mesh. This is cool. I did
This
not,
is
this
really
was not
fun.
in the content plan. This is all live.
This is
All right.
rifting. We like it. There we go.
Yeah. And
Oh, that
then
looks really good.
that actually looks really good. I might actually make that
Oh,
into a design. This actually looks cool. This
that's
looks
really
cool.
cool. I
And
love that.
then you can actually go ahead and click on mockup again and select a different design, click on mockup, and you have that in here. So you have both the images to compare side by side how they look. And it's going to generate that mesh and like bring it into my screen again. But if you do want to export this, you will have to license this. So here's the
Mhm.
buy button, and this is an Adobe Stock, and it says buy license. So now you can see like a side by side review of how these two designs will look like if I did that. So that's cool.
That's so cool. I feel like that would look really good embroidered too.
Oh, that is so cool. Yeah, that would look so, and like just like the crocheting aspect of it. And there's
Yeah.
like thing called um what is that stitching thing? Like like with one needle stitching. What is that called?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I need
There's
to
a
brush
one
up on my
needle
needle
stitch.
point stuff. Like
There was a
it's been a
one
long
needle
time.
stitching thing that I almost learned this one time when I was doing my pumpkin theme party. And I
Uh-huh.
wanted to send everyone with like tote bags of my pumpkin illustration. So I was like, maybe I should just do that. But yeah, this was our unexpected t-shirt mock-up graphic thing that
Mhm.
we did. And then maybe I'll just like remove this and just say Polish Queens because we did do that. And I group it. And this can be like a coaster design or anything like that. But I do want to showcase, I'm going to close this tab here and I'm going to showcase like this fun thing that I always do with effects. So if you go to effects and you go to distort and transform, there's like a zigzag tool. And it almost like gives that really fun personality again with like the pointed things that we saw in Bar Mlenchka with our inspiration, which is Milk Bar. With the type there, I think this is like really reminiscent of that. But you can go ahead and make it smooth if you want it to be more like on brand with like the main text element here, but I do want it cornered. I'm going to leave that be as is. And then maybe again, we can add some graphic elements in here. So I'm going to go ahead and bring like this guy, and this guy, because again, I want it to be on brand. All right.
Yeah.
That's a lot of talking.
Well, Monica solved our problem. I think the stitch, it's called stem stitch. Does that ring a bell?
Oh,
That's what she said in the comments.
I'm not sure.
So maybe there's multiple names for it.
Maybe there is. Maybe there is.
Thanks, Monica. Thanks for
Thank you.
for
Yeah,
for
I
giving that to
appreciate it.
us. Yeah,
Um, maybe I'll just leave it
amazing.
for now.
One thing I wanted to quickly call out while Anika's
Mhm.
doing her thing is that if you are interested in being featured on Adobe Live, or if you have an artist in mind that you'd like to see on Adobe Live, you can actually go ahead and nominate someone. There is a tab in Behance for you to go and do that. So if you'd like to see an amazingly talented artist just like Anika, go ahead and put them and suggest them, get them in there. So yeah, nominate yourself if you want to join us here. So it's a lot of fun, as you can see.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, and then this can be like our lockup here. And maybe we can like align it here. And this can be like on t-shirt. So maybe this design can be on the t-shirt as well. Like I can be a Polish queen and I can just
Mhm.
like remove the S almost from this. Also, why does this feel like it's like on an angle? Because it is. Okay. So like you can almost reuse this asset in multiple ways. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a coaster graphic. And I know I said like the slide deck template. I know we have like a little like just 20 minutes to go,
Mhm.
but I
Yeah.
really want to do this super quick. So I'm gonna make like a real like a rectangle here, make it like a slide deck. So almost with like every slide deck that Matt introduced to us with every Polish queen, we could like say Polish queen, and then maybe you can like give titles to it. So with the slide deck template, you would be like, oh, this is number one. So you can use like a text here and say number one almost. Polish queen number one, like so. Yeah.
Yeah.
And move this around somewhere here. I don't know. We'll think about that. Maybe it's like
Mhm.
doesn't need all this floral element here. But you do that, and then maybe like there's an image of that person here in this little square. That's not a square.
Yeah.
That is a circle.
A square
Um,
with rounded corners. Yeah.
a square. Thank you, thank you. Yes,
Yeah.
that is how math works, and
Yeah.
Illustrator does it for you. So I'm gonna bring it up, and then you have like almost this branded element where this is like the image of the queen that you're showcasing in that case, and then you can write like almost a bio in the secondary text that we have. So I think this is like a cool example of like a quick slide deck template that you can use. And again, with these floral elements, actually now that we have that here, maybe I want to use this variation that I made. Um, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I'm gonna group this, I'm gonna copy this, and then I'm gonna paste this here. So maybe I can bring this up top and Where's my layer file? Right here. Oop. Sorry, just bringing it up.
Bring it up. There we
And
go.
then this will be like some of the motifs that we have. So imagine this could be like, that's the image here. And this is on top of the image. So it's almost like one floral element that's still like bringing everything in. And
Right.
there'll be like information here of the person who's like doing it. So this will be the I'm gonna add like a lorem ipsum text here. So I'm gonna bring that here. And oh wow, time is ticking. It's
Yeah,
making
right. It's flying.
making
It's
me
flying by.
it's flying by. Okay, and then you select the text area, and I'm just gonna say a place with fill with placeholder text, and then I'm gonna make it like left line. And obviously you can like change that. I'm just like trying to find a lockup that will work for us. And this is like super big, so maybe I want to make it like 24 points, and then go back, fill with placeholder text. And this is where the Polish queen information can go, right? And yeah, I think that does the slide deck template as well. Wow, I am so impressed with myself right now
Look at you
because
go.
I
Yeah.
was like not sure that I'd be able to cover all this information. But
Well, I was sure. I had faith.
I love that your vote of confidence is in me.
Yeah.
But this was the slide deck template, and obviously there can be like a starter screen or whatever, but this is like a good place to start and riff off ideas off of. So here I still, again, the one thing to notice here is I use the same branded elements, I use the same font, the same sizing. Maybe I change the sizing for this, but I will go back and change the sizing to 24 points in the other designs as well, so everything is consistent. Just using the same typefaces, the same font sizes makes for that consistency and doesn't make your design jarring. Just with this, I feel like it is so simple, but it still adheres to my brand. And I love that. With that said, what is a die line? I don't know if you all have ever heard of it, the word die line, but with all the print things that you do with packaging design, die line is like, think of it as the template or the cookie cutter that you're using. So all these lines, I'm sorry that I don't have like a color coded key here, but the reds are where you fold, the green is the blade, and the cyan is the cut lines. So you want extra information to be printed. So if something goes wrong with the cuts, you have some leeway, and like you have some area that's already printed extra, and you can like put your stuff on it and it's fine, even if you like cut some extra things off there. But red is creases, so you fold there, use like scoring to fold it. It can be different depending on what kind of material you're printing on. So if it's paper, it'll be easy for you. If it's corrugated box, it's like a different process. It's like done with the machine, and there are die lines for certain standard boxes. There are die lines that are customizable, but obviously depending on your client budget, it'll be, if it's like someone starting a new business and they have like a new cosmetic product and they want to experiment and put their feet in the water and see how the product will do first, I would recommend going with a standard die line. And you can find this easily at the nearest printer near you. Just ask them for a standard box die line and they'll be able to help you. In this scenario, if we can go back to my video feed really quickly here, I will Julia Child it again and show you what I did. This was actually the box that we're trying to create here, and this was done on paper, so it's empty. And we have this as the party favor design. It says a little thank you, and it has all the floral elements that we had here. And once you fill your party favors in it and put a rainbow on it, not a rainbow, a ribbon on it, that's what it looks like. So I feel like this is like adds that extra touch here, but this is what you're trying to achieve. So this is what we created out of that flat sheet here. Now, to imagine that, I want you to think of it as like a flat laid down paper that you can almost like turn up to make into a cube. So, what I want to do is create designs underneath this so I can still see all the lines where I want to cut, I want to paste, all of that, right? So, for the sake of time, I'm just going to go back in here and see this color, and then I'm going to make it like so. And we won't worry about the details for this one because we only have about 10-ish minutes to go, I think. So we're just gonna
that's right.
we're just gonna dive into it. We're just gonna make like a quick design here.
Yep.
I think I wanna do this here.
Oliver says, wrap your boxes in rainbows for that very special touch. Yeah.
Yes. Oliver got it. Oliver got
Oh, yeah.
it. Oliver always gets it. Okay, so this is like the design that I have. Obviously, this will also have this. So you can just go in here, press Command F, and like just paste it in back. That's the bleed that I have there. And then you can actually go in and like change these shapes as well. But that will be like a little bit complicated for right now. So I'm not going to do it. But you can actually like go in and paste this, like paste in place and change the color. So that'll be easy. For right now, I just want to bring my illustration in here. So maybe I want to keep this consistent. So I'm just going to bring this guy here and I'm going to go back to my die line. So let's go back here. And then the one thing that's important here is like, how will the alignment be when this becomes a box? So imagine this to be the base of the box. So this is the bottom. And this one at the top and this one on the bottom is like the flaps that come up. So that's the base. It doesn't matter what alignment there is. So I'm just going to put this here. Actually, let's just leave that as it is, as empty. And this is also, this on the left and this on the right is also a flap that comes as a box. So it's a cube. Imagine a Rubik's Cube for reference. And like the base is red. That's the base. And then these four are the other four sides and all the sides, right? And that's the top. So all of this is going to come up onto the base. So if this is laid down flat and you fold it up, I almost want this to be in this direction, like so. So I have this here. I'm going to make it slightly bigger, like so. And then I'm going to align it to the base of it, which is like center, like so. And then similarly for this, I'm going to like bring it up here and I rotate it by 90 degrees and I'm going to bring it down here, like so. And then for this, I'm going to bring it like this. Rotate it. Obviously, I want to cut some of these things, but I can do that in like final design. And then I have this here, bring it back up. Yeah. And so these are like the four sides that I have. And then on top, it can be just some text that says thank you. I did actually go ahead and like add like a little cheers kind of thing where I was like, let me just make like a quick gloss almost. And I command J to join the gloss, and then I'm gonna use like a simple shape to add it here. Maybe I wanted something like this, right?
Yeah.
Okay. We have 5 minutes, right?
Yeah, we do.
Okay, awesome.
Well, yeah, we probably got closer to like, we've got to wrap up, but we've got about 10 minutes left.
Okay, awesome.
Cool.
Yeah. And then here it can be almost like a different, maybe it's like this guy. I didn't think about this. I just like, I just came up with this. It's fine. And then it can be like this guy or something. I don't know. Maybe. Ooh, this looks almost looks like it's like wrapped in the ribbon. So that's cool.
Ooh, I love that.
And I can do that. And maybe I can like bring some of this text in as well. So I can like bring this guy and say thank you on this card. Not card, the party favor. So it's like almost like still keeping everything in line with like text popping off of shapes. I think that's like one key takeaway here, which I really love. This almost doesn't speak to me, so maybe I want to change the color to this. That looks so much better.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I'm gonna change this to that and this to that. And then obviously I would need to change these colors a little bit. So just for right now, I'm gonna go to generative recolor and then maybe like change the, maybe I want to change like the brightness. I'm gonna reset that. So I'm gonna go here. Wait, is that changing the brightness? Let's change the saturation. Yeah, this is for brightness, right? Yeah, show brightness and hue.
Yeah.
So maybe you want like, this is not optimum because the contrast is really bad here. I'm gonna undo that. But maybe you want like almost different colors here. So I think I'm gonna go back to the drawing board a little bit and see what works. That does not work. Maybe I want this color as like the other color, right? And then this is the color. And all of this like almost makes sense. What I would add here would be like these shapes that I'm gonna do really quickly. The shape here, so that it's like, this would also be this gray color. But for the sake of time, I'm not doing that right now because it's like a lot of shapes and I don't have like, I didn't save a copy, friends. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's my bad. But we have these shapes here. So it would almost be like these colors and then it would extend to like the extra layer here almost. So if you cut it, it won't be. But that covers the die line. And then if you want, you can maybe like throw this at the bottom as well. So like it kind of like has illustrative elements all the ways. But that's like, this is perfect because this gives me time to actually show the elements that we created for our
Hmm.
actual dinner party. So I know we saw like some of the elements earlier. Where did I think I like, yeah, here we go. Okay. So this was our actual menu card. This is cool. And then
So
we
good.
ended up not printing anything on this side just to save paper and money and make it like sustainable and like accessible for us. So there was just one side with the back of it, which was like this, which is like cool. And then we had name tags. Hey, it's me, Anika, your friend. That was our name tag. This was our invite, which was really cool. That was the invite that we printed over here. And then these were the body favor. This was the body favor box. There's like something at the bottom, there's something at the top with the thank you, and there's something on each side. So with the alignment. And don't worry if you get it wrong in the first go, you can go back and edit it because it's illustrated and it's vectors. It's like super easy for you to go back and do it. And then one little tidbit about the Polish cuisine. I did try this thing called Timbark. I don't know if you can see it. Timbark,
Mhm.
and it was like a really fun thing because it had a Polish message here for every one of us, and it was unique and in Polish, so it was like just a fun thing, little thing, and that made our nights. But as we come back to our screen, would you like me to give you a quick little recap of what we did?
Yeah, just before you do, we got a couple comments in the chat. So Cody Bear is saying, cute packaging, Annika. People are loving it. Look, Robert says, looking great, Annika. Love how you use the mock-up or made a mock-up.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you're getting lots of love there in the chat, which is great. And I totally agree. This looks amazing. This is like elevated hosting.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm so glad everyone loves it. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in, everyone.
Yes.
Yeah, just as a quick recap, I know we have a little over five
Mhm.
minutes left. Here was the mood board that we started from. This was our inspiration. I was hosting a dinner party with my friends, and if you missed the stream, you can go back and watch the replay, which is super awesome.
Mhm.
And I was talking about my inspiration here, what inspired this, and I think the bold colors, the reds, the font, everything spoke to me, and that kind of like took me back to the Polish culture and history that Matt, my best friend, shared with me, who was also hosting this Polish night. So all of these like glyphs tell me a story, and I think I wanted to implement that in the design for my audience, which was my friends. And so I went to Adobe Stock and found this illustration here, which I decided to have extended license for, and then I can make illustration variations of it and use them in my designs. With these colors as my primary colors, I wanted to keep it like a very monochrome color palette to like pay ode to the Polish flag, which is red and white. And so I used some of these things. Again, something in common here was these two fonts that I used, BD Supper and Beetle. Both of them are Adobe fonts, and I think their personalities really go well together. This is also like a different, like this is just Adobe Clean that I'm using here. Well, that makes so much sense. I've just realized I was today years old and I realized that this is why this did not look the way that I thought it should by the end of
Oh.
the stream, because I actually did that just to like showcase what the font was, and then I
Mhm.
forgot to change the font. But the more you know, friends, this is why
Yeah.
you go back and check your designs. This is why you go back and check your designs. But here we go.
Oh.
Okay. So that was actually the font. I was like, there's something wrong with this. But this was the font that we used, and you can actually go back, and this is so funny that this happened while we're live. This is how you know we're live.
Oh yeah.
um we created some invites, we created some menu designs here, which is also the wrong font, but we can go ahead and fix that really quickly,
Mhm.
like so. And so these have all these like personality elements in here almost, which is so cool. And then we did some die line, which is the party favor. We did some name tags, which was super cool. We did some coaster designs, which was cool. We did like a slide deck template. We did t-shirt graphics, mockup beta tool, retype beta tool, and we also created this animated invite in Adobe Express. So that's all of what we covered today. I think that's all what we covered today, right? I think so.
Yeah, I mean, that's all. We covered a lot. I'm so impressed.
We covered a lot. I just like decided to use the wrong font for the whole stream and nobody pointed it out. Like,
I love
where is
how,
the
yeah,
personality? Like,
I
where is
mean, to be
the.
honest, it looked good before as well. It
I mean,
didn't
it
look,
did, but
yeah,
like,
yeah,
okay, let me undo that and really show you. Like, this was the first, like, before,
yep,
after. Like,
yes,
there is
okay.
so much personality, like,
So, yeah,
instantly. So
There's
that's like the
definitely.
perfect example of like trying to do something and then going back to the drawing board, which gives you an insight of the first iteration is just a first iteration. Don't put too much pressure on yourself, which is like
Mhm.
such a great way to end the stream and say, take it easy.
Mhm.
Host dinner
Yeah.
parties and make branding for it because it's fun.
Definitely. Well, I want to take a minute to say thank you to everyone who joined us in the chat today. Thank you so much. It's been a lot of fun. Anika, you've inspired me to not only host, but to brand a dinner party. So thank you for that. And for everybody else, join us up next for an Adobe Spotlight featuring brand strategist and graphic designer Phil Palin as he shares insights into his background, design journey, and the way he utilizes Adobe Creative Cloud. So stay tuned for that. Thank you again, Anika. This has been so much fun.
Thank you so much, Tristan. And thanks all for watching. We'll see you another time.
See
Bye
you
for
another
now.
time. Bye.